My sister's husband lost his shit when I told him I was dating someone else. I am Emily, 17 years old. My sister Sarah is 25, and she has been married for 2 years to her husband Travis, who is 34. They got together back when she was just starting college, and they have been together ever since. As far as I ever knew, they had a solid marriage, no issues, nothing weird. Every time they visited, they seemed like the kind of couple people would look up to. My parents never had their shit together, not even close. They made one bad choice after another, so my sister basically stepped in and raised me herself. I owe her everything for that. She gave up a lot just to make sure I was taken care of. When she was in college, I made a habit of calling her at least 3 times a week, just to check in and see how things were going. She would tell me about her classes, the job she was juggling, her plans for the future, and of course she would talk about Travis. She always made him sound like some kind of dream guy. It actually fucked up my own expectations of relationships because she made him seem like the perfect partner. She talked about the flowers he always got her, the beautiful dates he planned, how he treated her like she was the most important person in the world. Meanwhile, I was growing up in a house where my parents should have split years ago. I had no clue what a healthy relationship was supposed to look like, so I soaked up every detail she gave me. For the longest time, it was just me and Sarah against the world. So when she brought Travis into the picture, it was like I finally had an older brother. Eventually, they moved in together, got engaged, and then tied the knot. Then my parents kicked me out. They wanted me to pay them rent, which was fucking ridiculous. I had a job at this fancy horse ranch, and yeah, the pay was not amazing, but there were perks-free riding lessons, time with the horses, all that. I loved it too much to leave just because my parents were being greedy. If I paid them what they were asking, I would have had to either get a second job or quit and find one that paid more. I was not about to do that. So I moved in with Sarah and Travis. Travis worked from home, so unless he was taking Sarah out somewhere or at the gym, he was always around. He made plenty of money, doing what? I have no fucking clue. Sarah said it was some family business, so I never thought much about it. A little while ago, they told me they were expecting, and I was genuinely happy for them. But Sarah has had some really tough pregnancies in the past, multiple miscarriages, so we had to be extra careful with her. This one turned out to be complicated right from the start, and the doctor said it was high risk. That should give you a good idea of where things were at. Back when I was still living with my parents, they had this old car that I was allowed to use to get to school and work. Once they kicked me out though, that was off the table. Losing the car sucked because I liked having that little bit of freedom, but whatever, I would get over it. That is when Travis stepped in and said he would drive me instead. Every morning after he hit the gym, he would come home, shower, grab me a Starbucks, and drop me off at school. In the afternoons, he would pick me up and take me to work, then be there at the end of my shift to bring me home. It was honestly a huge help, and I was really grateful for it. I did not have to take the bus or walk, which made my life a hell of a lot easier. We spent a lot of time talking in the car, mostly about Sarah, the baby. Just normal stuff. But he always made a point to ask if I was dating anyone or had a crush. He would joke around, wink, and say shit like, "You are too gorgeous not to have some guy chasing after you. Come on, you can tell me. I can keep a secret." The thing was, there actually was a guy. His name was Tyler, and he was 19. His family owned the ranch I worked at, so we saw each other all the time. He would help me out during my shifts, and sometimes we would go riding together. But it was early, too early to start talking about it seriously. So whenever Travis brought it up, I kept things vague. I was not going to lie, but I also was not about to jinx anything. Eventually, Tyler asked me out, and I was over the moon about it. That night, after work, I told Travis. He fucking froze. I mean, the whole vibe changed instantly. The warmth, the way he was always joking with Might It was just gone. He started drilling me with questions, serious as hell. I answered them, thinking maybe it was just him being protective, that he needed some time to get used to it. But then I told him that Tyler and I had been talking for about a month. That is when he lost his shit. He started yelling, called me a liar, accused me of hiding things from him. I was already tearing up when he suddenly said, "What about us?" That is the part I cannot stop thinking about. What the actual fuck did he mean by us? And now, because of the way he reacted, I am second-guessing everything that has happened since I moved in with them. Like, for example, the pool. Travis and Sarah's house has a pool in the backyard. Sometimes I would go out there to swim or just lay out in the sun. But now that I look back, every single time I went out there, Travis would suddenly have something to do outside. Maybe he would fire up the grill or start mowing the lawn, but I always had this weird feeling like I was being watched. Sometimes he would just straight up get in the pool with me, but I figured he was just trying to stay in shape like I was. Then there is the shower thing. Sarah and Travis have their own bathroom, but I use the hallway one. Every time I finished my shower and walked to my room wrapped in just a towel, there were times when he would be right there waiting. He would just stand there and say, "Good night," and I would say it back. But now I cannot shake the feeling that there was more to it. I do not want to bring any of this up to Sarah. She is already dealing with enough. This pregnancy has been really hard on her, and I am terrified that saying something could put more stress on her and make things even worse for her and the baby. But I need to know, am I just overthinking this? Or is there something seriously wrong here? I never really thought my sister would take his side over mine, but after reading all the comments, I realized I need to be careful. Maybe it is time to start gathering some proof, just in case. I do not want to set off any alarms though, so I am going to try and change how I interact with him, make it seem like nothing is off, keep everything normal. I am willing to tell my sister if I ever feel like I am in immediate danger, but right now, I do not think he is that kind of guy. I want to wait until she is in a better place before dropping all of this on her. She is already carrying a high-risk pregnancy, and I will not be the reason she gets hurt physically or emotionally. But that blow-up, that shit was terrifying. Honestly, I think Travis is just completely overwhelmed. My sister is not in a great place health-wise, and he has had to step up a lot more than usual. He is probably just stressed, thinking something could happen to her. That is the only explanation that makes any sense. Still, even if that is true, I need to set up some boundaries. The way he lost it really rattled me, and I cannot shake the feeling that something is not right. I know for damn sure that if he ever got physical, I would not stand a chance against him. I am not dumb enough to think I could fight him off if it ever came to that. So I am going to start looking for ways to make myself less reliant on him. First, I am going to ask around and see if any of my friends would be willing to carpool with me. Then I will hit up Tyler and see if he can give me a ride to work and back. If none of that works out, I will find another jawbone I can walk to if I have to. Until then, I will try my best to keep things as normal as possible. I do not want to make things worse by acting weird or standoffish. If I treat him like a brother, keep it light, keep it casual, then maybe he will back off on his own, but I am not stupid. I am taking steps to get out of this situation, even if I have to do it quietly. Update. Is my sister's husband acting weird, or am I overthinking? I just want to say thank you to everyone who commented on my last post and gave me advice. Last night, after reading through everything, I realized that I am not safe in this house. I have to start making changes now. I have always respected Travis, always looked up to him in a way, but after that, I just cannot ignore the red flags. I tried to have a conversation with him, see if maybe we could talk this out, but he was still in a bad mood. There was no point. I just went back to my room. Later that night, I could not breathe. I felt trapped. I needed to get the hell out of that house, even just for a little while. So I went for a walk to my usual smoke spot just to clear my head. I had not even been there for 15 minutes before I got a text from Travis. "Where are you?" Then my phone started going crazy, call after call after call. I cannot even describe the fear that hit me. I wanted nothing more than to be left alone, but he would not stop. Eventually, I picked up. That was a mistake. The moment I answered, he started screaming. Apparently, I am a fucking princess who always gets her way, and I deserve to be treated like the bitch I am. Then he told me to send him my location. Yeah, like hell that was happening. I just told him to take a breath and think about what the fuck he just said to me, then I hung up. I was shaking so bad that I could barely dial, but I called Tyler. Thank God he picked up. I tried to explain everything, but I do not think he understood much at first. I was crying too hard, could barely get words out, but he told me to stay put and that he was on his way. When he got there, he sat with me, let me get everything out, let me calm down. Eventually, I was able to explain things better. Meanwhile, my phone was still blowing up, but I knew it was Travis, so I ignored it. Then I saw my sister's number pop up. I knew there was a chance it was not actually her calling. I knew it could be him, but I answered anyway. And sure enough, it was Travis. The second I said hello, he started screaming again, loud enough that Tyler heard every word. Tyler grabbed my phone right out of my hands and just said, "Shut the fuck up. She is safe." Then he hung up. After that, he just looked at me and said, "It is going to be okay." And for the first time all night, I actually believed it. He drove me back to the ranch and told his parents what had happened. I did not expect them to do anything, but they immediately offered to let me stay there in one of their extra rooms. I just had to help out a little more with the farm work. I could have cried. Hell, maybe I did. I was so fucking grateful. After all that, I just curled up next to Tyler and tried to sleep. I did not even go to school today, I just needed a break. But after everything that happened, I started thinking about my sister. I started worrying. So I called her. "Thank God," she answered. Her voice was all shaky, and I knew she had been crying. The first thing she asked me was if I was safe. Then she asked if I was okay. She told me that last night, she had woken up to Travis screaming. It scared her so bad that she just pretended to be asleep. She heard him leave their room, take her phone, then go back to yelling before storming out of the house. She had no idea what to do. She was terrified. She was afraid he was actually going to hurt me. She had no idea how long he was gone, but when he came back, he was still furious. When she tried to ask him what had happened, he flipped out on her too. She had never seen him like that before. She said he was trashing furniture, just full on destroying shit. Then, without saying a word, he got back into the car and left again. But at least this time, he left her phone behind. She looked at her call log, saw all the calls to me. The moment she saw them, she called a friend and got the hell out of there. I do not know what to do now, but I do know this. I will never go back to that house. While Travis was out looking for me, my sister called a friend to pick her up and then kept trying to reach me. At that point, I was passed out, completely drained from everything, but when we finally talked, she admitted she had been terrified that he had actually found me. She apologized over and over for not protecting me, for not seeing the signs, for letting things get this far. She asked me why I had not told her anything sooner, why I had kept quiet about all the weird shit that had been happening. I just told her the truth. I did not want to stress her out. Not while she was pregnant, not when her health was already at risk. And then, we both just broke down crying. Turns out my parents are letting her move back in rent-free because they suddenly care about helping raise their grandbaby. If that had been an option from the start, none of this bullshit would have happened. But whatever. Sarah and I went out for dinner that night, and I showed her my post. We cried again. She told me that she had never been scared of Travis before, but after seeing the way he completely lost it the night before, she was fucking shaken. We still need to get all our stuff from the house, but we are going to plan it out carefully and set a date to go back and grab everything. My dad and Tyler will both be there when we do, just in case Travis tries to pull anything. According to my sister, Travis has been trying to contact her, apologizing over and over, saying he was just worried about my safety, that I should not be out alone at night. Yeah, bullshit. He had no clue that she had been awake and listening the entire time. She heard every word he screamed at me. She knew damn well he was lying. So she told him she would be filing for divorce and then hung up on him. I love my sister more than anything, and I know she will get through this. She will find someone who actually loves her and only her. As for me, Tyler and I are officially going on a date next week, so that is something to look forward to. But honestly, thank you to everyone who freaked me out so badly that I just had to go out for a smoke break that night. I think you all might have saved me. I do not even want to think about what the fuck would have happened if I had been in my room when he came looking for me. But I do know one thing. I am never going back.